everyone's observation of you is some part truth, some part distortion.
100%. Yep.
And what you see in someone else is some part truth and some part distortion. So the actual truth resides somewhere in the middle.
Welcome to the From Within podcast with Ben Osterveld.
Hey guys, welcome to From Within the podcast. We have a very, a common guest now. It's the number 4th time or something. And it's Kelsey Grant.
Hi, friends.
What the heck do you call yourself, Kelsey? What Legendary Love Academy is what you...
Yeah, that's my company. And I call myself a relationship educator. So I help people love better.
And just for the people that might not have heard all the other episodes, which I highly encourage you to go back, we have a kind of a mini show we do, Love and the Raw Truth. She is the love and I am the raw truth. And it works really well. We've coached women live on this show, and that's been really magical, to be honest. It's been really cool. We've had some great talks. Go back and take a look. But just a little backstory with Kelsey for people that may be just jumping onto this episode. I met Kelsey in a very dark time in my marriage. And for someone referred Kelsey to me, and she started working with my wife and I. And to be honest, I was just talking to Renee yesterday because I was saying that we're going to be on the call. I was like, man, there's a few things that we learned from you that I would say would really have saved our marriage, to be honest. Like I remember the day we're sitting there, we're literally about to break up, and we had this call with you. And I wasn't even sure if Renee was going to show up. And we had this intro call and just to meet you. And I think there's so many things that we learned. Like I was not hearing her. I thought I was. I had no clue. We didn't know that when women have their period, I know we do it as a joke, but you written that 4 moons thing. Yeah. And there was like, there's 1 week that I lose my wife and she turns into someone else, and didn't realize that. Right. So now I understand how to kind of dance with her during those times. And yeah, so much we learned about men and women. So anyways, I'm kind of ranting a bit on that, but I want people to know that Kelsey has affected my life in direct way. My wife and I are still happily married. Actually, we are actually, check this out. You'll like this. So when Renee and I dated, I had a truck, and do you know Big Garbage Day? Do you have Big Garbage Day where you're from? Where the people just chuck like couches, and you don't have to.
No. Just so this sounds amazing. Tell me more.
So what happens is it's just Big Garbage Day. So anything big on one day. So you drive down the street and you see couches and dishwashers and seriously cabinets. So I would always wait for Big Day, and I'd snag a couch that I sit out there. I never really thought of like bugs and stuff. I should have that. Yeah. Anyways, I was young and foolish. Now I'm older and foolish, but threw a couch in the back of the truck, and we'd go hang out, and we'd go park places and make out on the couch. And we were dating. And so there was times we would like, wake up and we're in a field, sleeping in a field. So we had this weird, when we first met, we would just go everywhere. So what we're doing actually today is we're taking our minivan, taking all the seats out. We're putting a single mattress in the back. Fun. And we're heading to the mountains for the night. So it's so cool. Like we haven't done this forever. So we're literally just going to go and find a campsite, sleep in the van, go to the hot springs and stuff. But yeah,
that's amazing.
So today it's good, and I truly thank you, Kelsey, for what you do. And I will always tell you to be yourself. Don't waver. Always, because you and your energy and your heart, it has affected my life and Renee's to this day. So anyways, there's a little warm
fuzzies.
And that's the show.
Thanks for coming.
That's all that needs to be said. But so yeah, no, it's nice to have you on, Kelsey. So great. We were just sitting chatting about business and life, and it's just so fun. We were just having ice cream in Vancouver. Went to take my daughter for a trip there. That was super fun.
Oh my gosh, she's so sweet.
She liked you.
Yeah, I liked her too.
She was like, can you hang out tomorrow? Remember?
Yeah, she's so
sweet. Like, I don't need my dad. I got Kelsey.
We'll go on a shopping trip next time you guys come.
Oh my goodness.
We'll go frolic.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. Well, today we are going to chat about something that is, I think, a really big deal in relationships. And I know that I have a lot of experience in that. I think every human being has a lot of experience in it. What it is why do we defend people that hurt us? So Kelsey, why do we defend people that hurt us? Go.
Well, I mean, on a very, the number one reason is that usually tends to be a trauma response. So There's been some form of trauma that's gone on in that relationship. There's been a rupture of some kind. And the automatic response is, because we are emotionally bonded to this person, this is not a logical decision that's being made. It's an emotional and instinctual decision that's being made. And that instinctual decision, or that instinctual pull, is to remain bonded to who you're bonded to. And so when someone hurts us, or they betray us, or they do something that is truly horrendous, the part of us that's making the decision is not our logical brain. It's our emotional brain. It's our instinctual brain. And so that part of us is so fused, and it really comes from this place of trauma of like, all right, well, I can fight. That probably won't go so well for me. Or I could flee, but then I'm alone. Or I could freeze. And freeze is like the frozen response. Like I'm just not going to do anything. And so I think a lot of the time the defending comes from, one of these three places of like, I need to fight and defend the person that I'm emotionally bonded to, even though logically that person has hurt me. Um, or we need to flee. So we like run away from the conflict of the other person, and that could be perceived as defending the person that hurt you. Or we freeze and we just don't do anything at all. And so on that level, I think it comes from this very traumatized place. And then we also have this thing of wanting to belong. And, so many of us are starved for love and connection. And so let's say we get into a relationship and like the relationship is toxic. The relationship, maybe teeters on the line of abusive, but it's connection. And because we've been so starved for high quality connection in our culture, we kind of have this unconscious attitude of I'll take what I can get. And so we don't want to let go of the thing that is hurtful or harmful to us, because if we let that go, we might not have any human connection after that point. So we tend to, like, at least unconsciously, defend that person, protect them, so that we don't lose that sense of belonging, lose that connection. And
How have you seen that play out in your life?
well, like in my past relationship, so I noticed that, for the 3 years after we broke up, I still wasn't talking about my story. And I still wasn't talking about the fact that it was an emotionally abusive relationship. And, I don't want to paint this picture like it was this completely horrendous experience, because there were parts of that relationship that were really amazing for me and like helped me step into my business in a way that maybe I never would have. But there were also parts of that relationship that were incredibly damaging. And there was a lot of betrayal in that relationship. And I had a very hard time talking about it. And where that was coming from was this more codependent place in me of wanting to protect his inner child, because I had understood where his trauma came from. And I'm like, well, if people just understood, where that came from and why good people do bad things, blah, 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 then, it would make more sense. And so I kind of took that stance right out of the gates of protecting him by not telling my story. And now where I'm at in my life, there's been enough space and distance that I can really contact those parts of myself, those codependent parts that were trying to protect him from pain, but at the expense of my own. So I, kind of took the bullet per se, and I'm bleeding out over here. But the codependent part of me is like, no, it's okay. I'm fine.
Give. Yeah.
I'll just keep giving. I'll just keep giving. And now it's at the point where, being in this really healthy, securely attached relationship, and where like he's not sucking my energy out anymore. I have more energy in my body, and I'm like, wait a second. What? No, what? No. That wasn't okay what happened over there. And it's not okay that that betrayal went on. And it's certainly not okay that like the community around me has not stood up to that break in integrity. And so for me personally, like it's shown up in my social circle and it's shown up in past relationships, and this desire to, and, I can really see that, like if I scroll back into my family system of, we put on a certain face for the public, and then behind closed doors it's totally different. And we just had to appear like we were like this really cohesive family, but in the back end, it was not that way.
That sounds like probably all families, to be honest. So many families are like that.
For sure.
Now, you bring up trauma. So trauma is a weird word. I think about people listening, okay? Trauma can be anything from like sexual abuse to very small things. And I just wanted to talk about trauma for a second, because I think it's, if we're using that as one of the core reasons why we're defending people and that part of the triggering, I think we needed to say that trauma can be very small.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Because we right away think it's big. Yeah. So let's break that down so people can understand, like, trauma can be being made fun of one time in school as a 5-year-old. You know what I mean? Like, so.
Absolutely. Yeah. So there's, in the psychology world, there's a distinction between big T trauma and small T trauma. So big T trauma are things like physical abuse, sexual abuse, mental abuse, being neglected. Those are like being in a car accident, those types of things. And then small T trauma can be typed as bullying. It could be typed as, you had a parent that was inconsistent and like turned towards you sometimes and turned away from you at other times. It could be that, you had an accident on your bike and there's trauma like stored in your leg where you broke your leg.
Crazy.
So, and then we have to look at like the emotions that came up when you broke your leg, and then how was your family system attuned to you or not attuned to you, because that experience will also be anchored in that part of your body. And so, it can, and it usually is like, for a lot of people, let's say the general population are dealing with some degree of small T trauma. And then we have, these bigger T traumas that are obviously very real and very valid, but we're not really seeing that in the wide scope of the population. Those are pockets of the population. But I have yet to meet someone in my 37 years of being on this planet who hasn't experienced trauma on some level.
For sure. And so, and then you think about this, what does someone get? Like I know people in my head I'm thinking of right now, which I'm not going to say because I want to protect them. No, joking, but no, just out of respect, to be honest. Like they defend. So this lady defends a guy. Okay. Like, well, you don't understand what he's gone through. I'm like, why are you getting treated like that? Well, you know what? It's just, you don't get it, Ben. And it's very, very obvious to me that she's in a relationship that for some reason, like, she's not getting treated the best as she could. Okay. It's not necessarily abuse, but it's definitely not valued. You're not getting valued. And there's subtle little shots at her. And it's like, well, yeah, that's how she is. And like, there's just this subtlety of this constant, like, it's almost like you keep them down. It's like, I think it's a subtle way a man can control a woman, or try to, or women do it to men too. But, what is she getting out of it? Like, what is she getting out of it to protect a bit of an asshole?
Well, I mean, I don't know this person, and maybe I do, I don't know. But just from, my experience of that, what I get is a sense of belonging. I get that human connection. And if we went back far enough in that woman's history, we could probably track a breakdown in connection or a fracturing somewhere, and this deep sense of unworthiness. So that sense of unworthiness has us gravitate towards people who can't fully meet us, can't fully choose us, can't cherish us. But it's some form of connection, and some form of connection is better than nothing. So she's getting connection out of it. Yeah. Just a low grade connection. When
I see this person is, she finds significance in supporting this broken man.
Oh, okay. So then, she probably extracts a sense of like validation, value, being needed by helping him.
So then if in that case, that's why, so is she even defending him in that canary? I actually think she has to defend him so she keeps her worth up. Because if she says, no, you're an asshole, then she's not needed. Is that right?
For sure. And also she probably has this idea that being helpful is like the ultimate thing to do. And so if she calls him out or stands up to him, well, then she has to go against that identity. And if she goes against her own
100%.
identity, who is she?
So then, and that's the thing. And it's funny because I know this person, and I actually challenged this person. I said, I think you're a little bit controlling.
100%.
And she completely like, what are you talking about? There's no what? Complete disconnect. But it's like everything's controlled, but it's all through kindness and through giving. And it's like, I'm like, but then when something doesn't go a certain way, you can see it. And so I just think that people, this is another way people defend. By defending, they have to win something. They have to gain something. You know what I mean? So what are they losing? So when we say, when you stop defending, or why are you with that person? Well, they're going to lose something.
Yeah. And I mean, at this stage, she probably would have to lose her identity that she's been fused to her entire life, which means like that's a very scary like turning point.
Especially when she's close to 60.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you do? Right. I think that's a huge thing, massive thing. I actually think I challenge people, and these are the people that run away, to be honest. Because I'm like, hey, look at this. And the truth hurts. And it's not that I've ever meant to hurt anybody, but they put me in a position where they want to know something. I'll speak truth. And all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I'm not really into this. Like I honestly rarely happens, but when it does, I know that we're onto something. Because I think that's what you're saying. It's like they lose their identity. Like then,
like she doesn't know who she is at all, because her whole identity. And if we tracked back to her childhood, we would probably see a pattern of her being the good girl who, like, if you're just pleasing enough,
she was,
you can avoid the wrath or the upset of whatever parent, or maybe both parents, or maybe a teacher or someone in her past that had a significant impact on her. You can avoid that pain by being nice.
She had a bully sister and an aggressive mom and a super loving dad. And she'd always hang out and kind of hang out with her dad.
Okay. Well, if her mom and her sister were bullies, chances are she saw how painful that maybe was for her loving dad.
Yeah.
And then has this idea of like, oh, I'm just going to go to the other end of the spectrum, and I will, love so hard and so fiercely at the expense of myself. Like I won't know how to put up boundaries. I won't know how to stand up and assert myself, because like the collapse that happens is she sees mom being aggressive and we collapse that with being assertive. So we don't know the difference. We don't know that assertiveness is actually a function of love and aggressiveness is a function of fear. And so when we don't know that distinction, of course, we don't want to be assertive because we don't want to be like the person that hurt us, And so it's one of those things where if she, goes on this path of self-development, she's going to have to crack open all of that stuff.
And that's, I don't think she will. So I think that's where the pain becomes enough and they change. That's where unfortunately, that's what happens is when you get to the end. So, but man, I think it's funny because working with people all the time, it's almost like, I don't know if they hide behind defending someone because it's like, hey, look, it's almost like you're trying to, I've seen so many husbands and wife do this, right? Like you're dealing with it and you're like, well, maybe this shouldn't be. No, he's not that bad. Like, why are you defending this guy? Like, why can't you just say that he's not the best? Like, why can't we just, because I think then maybe it reflects something on them.
Of course. Like, what does it mean about me if my partner is this way? And so we're defending against that perceived shame, but really what we're defending against is feeling our own shame. And if we defend them, then we don't have to feel our shame. We don't have to feel our sadness. We don't have to feel all of those uncomfortable feelings that we've stuffed down in order to stay.
So then if someone's defending, could we say, what are you avoiding?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. It's really interesting, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if you break it down and it's like, if you know truth, you don't defend.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if like, let's just say that you say, "Hey, Ben, you know, you're a bad speller." I'm like, "Yep, I know." But
Mm-hmm.
if I wanted to create a false image that I was a good speller, I'm going to say, what are you talking about? Like, it's not even that bad. You know what I mean? Like, once in a while, I'll have a problem. But so what am I? So what I think we create an image we want people to know of us,
Yeah.
or we create some kind of thing where I don't want to know the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think because, you know, I'll catch myself defending myself. I'm like, why am I defending?
Yeah. 100%.
Like, what am I not facing here? Like
Totally.
I think that's what it is. Like, if you catch yourself defending, ask yourself, what are you not facing?
Mm-hmm.
And truth has to set you free. Like that,
100%.
and I think you don't, like, how many people that you work with, like, obviously people that are really into you and into what you're doing is great, but there's times where it's like, how many people are resist that?
I mean, I usually have at least one every year
Yeah.
who is like the really tough nut and
Yeah.
they don't want to crack open. And sometimes, we're able to make progress. Sometimes we're not.
Hmm.
Because if someone is so fused with their identity, and
So
I had this
false identity, or
false identity.
attached to an identity outside of who they are.
Yeah, so I think of it like this. I think of our identity is, something that we generate that we want the world to see of us. And then there's our essence, who we actually are.
Yeah,
And the goal of life is becoming aligned with our essence and
totally.
allowing our essence to really communicate who we are in the world.
Yeah.
But for a
And I
lot of
say,
people,
try to be who you are in private, the same person you are in public, and who are you are in public, be the same. That's when I know I'm starting to align.
mhm,
And so it's kind of the same thing, right?
of course, because, in order to, kind of fuse those two, we have to be in touch with the parts of us that are hard to be with, which is what is referred to as our shadow. So if you had a dysfunctional relationship to your shadow, of course you have to defend because you can't be with those parts of yourself. So when someone else calls it out, like you really can't be with that. So if I was
So
to say,
true.
Ben, you're a bad speller and you were not connected to your shadow, like the way for you to get me away from that shadow material is to erupt, is to have this big
It's intimidating,
reaction.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
intimidation. And I see
Could even
this.
be an emotional reaction through humor too, though. Like, there's
Yeah,
one is aggressive. Like, I see that happen. Like, they'll be like, make a joke out of it, or like, you'll see, but it always is an emotional outburst in some
100%.
level. We always think of aggression, but really it can be
No,
make it a huge joke and make everyone laugh. And that could be a way to also,
yeah,
like,
get you
erupt
off point.
emotionally.
Yeah, for sure. Like I see this a lot with my clients where, women have, generally speaking, a disassociated relationship to anger. So that's something in their
Yeah,
shadow that they
most
can't
people.
be with. And so whenever we touch that in the curriculum, either I get like super inflamed,
Wow.
like
Yeah,
reaction,
totally.
or I get the girls that giggle and they
Yeah.
laugh,
Yeah.
and
Totally.
they're like, ha, 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 and it's like this nervous
Super
laughter.
uncomfortable, right?
They're so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whew, all right. So now we have some shadow work to do, and I give them fun ways to work with their shadow because I think it can be really confronting.
Yeah.
Oh, shadow, like this is going to be deep
So
and intense.
don't even get me going. I know people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. Did you see the post I put out on Facebook about bracing your darkness?
No. What did you say?
We'll scroll back. So I just
Okay.
found this cool app and it just messes with your face a little bit. And so I did
Yeah.
like a blue face and a normal face and a red face, but I made the red face bigger. So it looked like a devil. Okay. And so I just said, but I put all the different faces. And I just said, if you don't embrace who you really are, and even the dark parts of who you are,
Mhm.
I walked through this whole thing. Holy crap. Anyone with a religious background right away got mad. Like, they're not got mad, but they wanted to debate and accuracy
Of
and all this
course.
stuff.
Defend. Uh-huh.
And it's just that message of like, you have to embrace the dark side of yourself, because then you have this, if you like parts of yourself and you don't like other parts of yourself, how are you going to accept people unconditionally? How are you going to be loved unconditionally? How are you going to love unconditionally? And it's like, you got to look at the dark side and you got to be you. And I
Mhm.
believe I love the shadow. I use that exact same thing. It's like our shadow. but that's part of who we are. So what we've been taught in my upbringing is, darkness is bad.
Yep.
And you just reject it. But what you do is you disconnect from who you really are.
Mm-hmm.
And people think I'm saying embrace the devil, but I'm not. I'm saying embrace the part of you that you're not happy with.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean, right? And that's the process of healing. I don't know why that triggers people so much about, like the dark side of yourself. Maybe it's Star Wars, come to the dark side.
Come to the
I don't
dark.
know. But I love that. It's just shadow. It's things in our life that it doesn't mean we have to say, like, let's just say someone had a temper or had an eating disorder or something like that. Like, it's just part of who you are. Like, if you can love yourself with that, we are now making progress.
100%.
Like, for so long, I wanted to be enlightened, Kelsey. But you know what I mean? But like, there's things in me, I'm going to get rid of it. I'm going to work on it. Yeah. I'm not quite there yet. And I realized the personal growth journey was fucking me up because I was trying to get to this perfection state. So when you have a perfection mentality, you look at personal growth as like, okay, I'm going to crush this.
Yeah.
And I realized there's no peace of mind. It's opposite. And I realized I got to accept myself with my bad spelling. I got to love that guy. I got to love the guy that yells at his kids sometimes. I got to love the guy that lets my wife down sometimes. And like to be in love with all of you. And that's kind of what that when I hear you say people are not wanting to see their shadow, well, then they'll never learn how to love who they are. And they'll never actually don't know how to receive love. They don't know how to give love because we're just, I'm working on that. I'm working on that. No, that's who you are. And today you need to love who you are.
Totally.
All of you.
100%. And like my whole brand, like at least online, is called Radical Self-Love.
Yeah.
And for me, radical in this sense means to the root. So the root of self-love, or the root of all love, is self-love. And self-love embodies embracing and loving and accepting the totality of your humanity. So it's not this dissociative, love and light, only love and light, bypass.
Totally.
And like that kind of shit just drives me nuts.
Drives me nuts too. I feel like it's complete, it's just like this complete disconnect.
It is. And
it's the positivity, people.
Yeah. It's the positivity bypass. It's a spiritual bypass. And it's designed, this is the most fucked up part, because you find this in personal development, and you would think that personal development would lead you to become more personally developed. But what that type of mentality does is it actually brings you further away.
Love that.
True essence.
So true.
Because your true essence is all of it. It's your shadow. Like, you don't walk down the street and flip the fuck out because you see your shadow on the sidewalk.
Totally.
But yet, when it comes to our psychological and emotional shadow, we're like, that can't be there.
I know that we hate what it is. I used to hate parts of myself.
Yeah.
Just like, I grew up in such an environment where you just hate, like I was told I talked too much. I was told that to think before you speak. And I was told that like, I didn't know how to read very well, still wrestle with reading. And so what happened was when you compare yourself to the other people, you're just like, man, I'm just broken. No one ever told me this to be just, it's okay to be who you are. And obviously that's why what drives me, I've had such it's destiny, to be honest. It was like, it's meant to be, but just to really just love who you are for real. Like there's just something about that. And it's so weird, Kelsey, by just even speaking about like, hey, you need to love yourself, people get triggered.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why. Like I come from a religious background, right? And in the religious world, that is a trigger. Mm-hmm. And I don't understand because you need to love God or whatever. But the thing is, it's like that self-love it's almost like rejected in some circles. In my mind, I'm just like, that's why you're so stuck.
Yeah. And it's a perfect way. Now I'm going to go in like a conspiracy theory direction, but like, it's a perfect way to keep masses of people bound to a certain level of, energy expansion, understanding. And when people's energy is lower like that, when you have low self-worth, you're easily manipulated. And when you know who you are and when you've embraced who you are unfuckable with.
I know. That's why there's people in my life that are still very religious that literally do not know what to do with me. Yeah. Because I don't fall into the category. I don't just flow with the culture, but I'm not fighting them. Nothing. Yeah. It's just the essence of like, you can't fuck with me. Yeah. Like it really is like, you know what I am? Strong. Like there's a true, that's what I've been realizing more and more, is that you become strong, like real strong. You know what I mean? Like I'm good. Like it's so powerful just to be like, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Well, and like that's the beauty of doing this type of work. So let's say, like, and I said this on a coaching call yesterday. I'm like, listen, I would be lying to you if I got on this call and told you that I was the heroine. I played the role of the heroine in everyone's story who knows me.
Yeah.
Like to some people in my past, I am, the evil villain.
Yeah.
And the only reason I'm able to say that and not feel shame about it is because I've met those parts of myself. I've met those parts of myself that are jealous, that are insecure, that, are manipulative, that, like all of these parts in my shadow that are there. If I hadn't have met them, that would still be running my entire life. And that's what people don't understand. The thing
that's why you got to go look at the dark, go into the dark, go walk and sit in it, go get to know 100%. It. Like yeah. So I think, so back to the defending, like, like I just, like, I don't know. I guess I'm just trying to bring it back to defending. I don't know what else I was going to say. It was like a great segue back to, and then just a cliff and back to defending.
And we're going parasailing off the cliff.
Yeah. I'm like, maybe we wrapped it. I don't know. So I think it's a really beautiful tool though. Okay. Is when we see ourselves defending. It's a beautiful look into something there. It's like these wonderful moments of when you're defending someone, and deep down, if you can have just an ounce of awareness to say, why am I defending that person? And do they really deserve to be defended? And what am I hiding from? Why is this? It's a beautiful doorway to open. And instead of saying how defending is so bad, I actually think it might be a really beautiful way to start your self-development growth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it'll also show you like how invested you are on the positivity bypass. Because when we're defending someone in some way, shape, or form, we're saying like it has to be all good all the time.
Yeah.
We can't be with the totality of our humanity. We can't be with, you know what? There's been some shitty things that have happened in our relationship.
Yeah.
There are some ways in which he or she has broken my trust. And I'm not going to get into the details about that, but that is what's happened here. And even just telling that degree of truth, and people don't expect that at all. Like what? And so like, that is like when we notice ourselves defending, like you said, like we have to take a look at what part of me is defending. What is that protecting?
Yeah.
And what am I avoiding by, defending this person versus telling my truth? Like, because when we defend someone who, maybe doesn't deserve defending, what we're also simultaneously doing is self-abandoning, because we have that part of like our inner child that knows that we've been betrayed or we've been hurt, and it wants us to advocate for it. And we are not advocating for ourselves and our safety and being cherished and loved when we defend the person who hurt us.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that you need to go on like a slandering spree and like throw that person under the bus. Like there's this beautiful line where we can advocate for ourselves and hold someone capable and accountable for their behavior. And I think give an example. Go ahead.
I'm such a practical, like I think about the deepest things and I'm like, how do I tell someone this? So I spend a lot of time thinking about like, and I'm such a pictures guy, but I think what you just said was like that fine line of just saying how it is, but you're not crushing someone and you're not out like activating bitterness. I think of it, I think we've probably talked to this before, but the best thing I do is like, what role are you? Are you the judge or are you the witness? And then when a judge says you're an asshole and you did this to me and then when the anvil goes down, it's case closed and it's over. Like it's nothing you can do. You've made this judgment. And then, but instead, if we can take the role of the witness and just be like, he was an asshole, or it's a way different. It could look exactly the same, but in your heart, you know that you're just stating a fact, that you're just speaking truth. And you're just almost saying what you saw versus adding that energy of a judgment, which closes the case, which is you can't heal, you can't grow, you can do nothing. Anyone that judges it's game over. You can't help them.
Yeah. And that's usually the distinction, like, those tough nuts in my classes that are hard to crack.
Yeah.
That is the distinction. Someone who literally has their judgment glasses on and they will not take them off.
Yeah.
I cannot help someone like that. I cannot work with someone like that because they're uncoachable, first of all. And like that judgment, like it's that shame that's blocking them is so dense that they may never take those judgment glasses off because of what it protects.
Yeah.
And they're just not ready. They're not ready for me.
Sometimes what helps them is to kick them out of the group.
Yeah.
And then they're going, oh, because if you want to debate them, it goes for a long time.
100%.
Sometimes there's an experience they need to experience. And that's why, as me and you as coaches and in some weird way healers, is that sometimes it's not about what it's not about helping them, it's not talking. Sometimes it's literally a hard shot.
Yeah.
And I feel like if we are not happy with who we are, if we're not confident enough to speak our own truth, Kelsey, we'll never be able to, like, there's times that you just need to say the truth. Mm-hmm. And it's actually what activates the healing and activates the freedom. And so I feel like it's so important in being able to love all parts of us. Cause sometimes there's a bit of an aggressive, or sometimes but that's cool. Like sometimes there's really useful.
Yeah. 100%. Sometimes people need that really strong dose of reality.
Those guys you can't get through. I was one of those guys. That's why I know that. Like I remember sitting in a room with 12 people and it was my turn to be in a hot seat, and Philip McKernan, my mentor and friend, I said, guys, I'm open. And they're trying to talk to me. I'm like, no, that's not how it is. And no, that's not how it is. And I'd be I was a master at deflection and totally disconnected from truth. And everyone's on the same page except me. And I just dropped the line, like, guys, I'm really open here. Like I'm just struggling. I'm really open. And Philip's like, you're one of the most close fucking guys I know. And he just crushed me. It's like, holy shit. And it's like, everyone raised their hand. Who thinks Ben's open? Nobody. And I was like, holy crap. That's many stories I've had like that. But I'm willing to keep moving forward. I'm willing to look at that shit. That's why I keep growing. But sometimes it does take that little bit of a hard truth bomb.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I think when people, and this is the interesting thing, like when we have a self-worth issue, we tend to either self-inflate. So we use the scale of grandiosity and just like inflate ourselves. Yeah. Or we diminish ourselves. So they're a function of the same thing.
False humility.
So, so people who are really hard on themselves are like, oh no, it's all good. Like I don't feel anything. Or like the other people who are like, I am so much better than everyone else in this room. Yeah. And like, these people are just not on my level.
I totally swing both ways. I'm a swinger. I go into like, Ben's amazing. And then I'm just a piece of shit. Yeah, it's legitimately, I'm like, I got the double. It's like sometimes I'm just like serious. I'm like, man, I'm amazing. And then all of a sudden I get cracked in the face or something. I'm like, oh, I'm not that amazing. And then I'm like, I'm an idiot. I'm not that bad. It's just how it is, right? Like we just have to navigate the human being of who we are. Totally. It's just how it is. And I love that part of me. Just who it is. I love it. It's just part of who we are.
Absolutely. And like when we can like name it, like I have all of like these little things that I use of like, you name it and then you tame it, but you can't tame it until you name it.
Totally.
And so it's one of those things that if I own that there are times where I am extremely arrogant, I am extremely grandiose, I self-inflate like no one else. Like I literally will think I'm so much better than everybody else. And then like most of the time that's where my shadow likes to camp out. Yeah. But occasionally, like if I hit something that is like really tender, it'll drop me into that place of feeling worthless and like I'm nothing and like I don't deserve anything, blah, blah, blah. So like I do swing as well, but I stay more in the.
You're amazing. Totally. I get it. I can totally swing both ways. And it does. It happens. It's just what it is. But if you got to think about like we can't know dark unless we know light. We can't know light unless we know dark.
100%.
When I get really arrogant and I think I'm amazing, guess what? I get hit and I get brought down, and it's just like, okay, cool. It's like, it's such a beautiful dance when you're down and depressed and you think you're worthless or no one likes you. And all of a sudden you realize that's just not true. And you can pull yourself out of it. Like there's just this beautiful exercise of going arrogant, going depressed. It's beautiful because then you grow and you gain awareness. And it's like the clue. It's just part of it. I think we want to fight fear, defeat fear, kill my ego. I think that's bullshit.
It is.
It's not real. It's not real.
No.
You have to just have an ego. How do you have an ego and have a relationship? Like you know what I mean? Like it's just, yeah, it's just being who I'm good.
Yeah.
I want to grow and I want to look within and I want to keep moving forward. And when things come up, I go, oh, okay, that's how it is. That's where the witness versus judge.
For sure.
You're like, oh, look what's happening. I am doing this. Why am I doing this?
And when you can witness and become the observer of your experience and name those parts of you, when someone else calls you out, you
already called yourself out.
You already called yourself out. So even if you might have an initial reaction in the moment, which again is normal, we're human.
Yeah.
We're able to get to that place where we can say, I can see some truth in that.
Yeah,
totally. Know, because everyone's observation of you is some part truth, some part distortion.
100%.
Yep. And what you see in someone else is some part truth and some part distortion. So the actual truth resides somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
And if we can own these parts of ourselves, then when someone brings, feedback to us that we're like, ooh, it doesn't feel so good to receive that. But I know that there's a part of me that is arrogant sometimes. So you just said that I occurred to you as arrogant. That's probably true.
Probably right.
I probably did that. And help me understand the impact of that. Help me understand is it my tone? Is it my body language?
Do you know what's the sweetest essence, the sweetest energy that I say smell? It's like is when someone says, yeah, I'm arrogant. Yeah. Not, oh, I'm fine. I'm not arrogant. No. You misunderstand. There's something about just like being you is how you become. And I think a lot of women and men don't connect with each other because they're hiding those parts. And if they would just freaking show who they really are, there'd be a magnetic attraction that happens. If you want to know how to grow a business, this is how you grow a business. You want to know how to find a relationship, then show yourself. And once you're okay with it, like, yeah, I've got a temper. That's part of who I am. And I don't like it, but guess what? That's who I am. Yeah. There's something so attractive to someone that just goes, yeah, it's almost like I got a gimp arm and here, take a look. I don't hide it anymore. Like that's attractive. It's that you're
not hiding out in shame anymore.
And how we become attractive in this day and age is fucked up because you put lipstick on. Yeah. You put like fake shit everywhere and you're like, now I'm attractive. No, it's the opposite. It's like someone might get attracted to your sexy little body. Yeah. But that's more like a roller coaster ride than a relationship.
Yeah.
It's like we have this.
It's not maintainable.
And why don't you just show who you are? And but I think the problem is people then will repel you because you're probably in a circle of people that aren't willing to do that. Yeah. And then that has to happen. That has to change, right? You start saying, yeah, I have this. And they're like, what the heck's wrong with you? Well, you're not my kind because you don't want to face your shit either. Yeah.
And we could do a whole episode on that. Like when you start coming to life and the impact on a social circle that's misaligned, that's, really attached to you maintaining your old identity. They will act in ways to try and bring you back down to who they know you to be. And they'll cut you down. They'll say, that's not who you are. That's not who you are. Like, what is this?
Or he's changing you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or she's changing you.
Yeah.
Seriously. It's funny. My daughter, she can be quite manipulative sometimes. And she's cute. We got an episode that we talked about. Have you heard our episode?
No.
Listen to it.
Like you and Renee?
No, me and Renee did one, but me and my daughter, Scarlett. But Scarlett, so I would empower my wife. I think she would say that. I empower her to be brave and speak her mind and be who she is. I've always encouraged her to be who she is unapologetically, no matter what. So she's been standing up a lot to the kids and doing no, I'm not getting played by you. And no, you need to listen and all this. And then you hear Scarlett, Mom, dad is making you mean. And which triggers Renee because she doesn't want to be mean, right? So
want to be mean,
it's just interesting. And it does. She wants to go back to the place where Renee was codependent and serving the kids like slaves, you know, and
could get away with anything.
That's right. And so, but it is true. So, but we definitely could do an episode on that. We might want to swing back on that on the effects of changing who you are in your relationships and stuff. But anyways, why don't we
more you?
What's that?
Becoming more you, and like the cost of that.
The cost of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cost of the relationships around you, current relationships.
Yes.
So anyways, what's going on, Kelsey? We'll finish it up here. What's happening in your life? Who the heck can connect with you? What do you want? Do you want to be on stage? Do you want more coaching clients? Like, what do you really want? And if the universe is looking at you right now and you are like a genie, because that's how it does work. What do you want? Like, I'm talking, don't waste it. Like on some, like, what do you want?
No,
people
I want a
are ready
book
to
deal.
give you whatever you want. Just say it.
Like, what I really want is a book deal. I want to write a book that is, goes out through a major publishing house and that talks about like these concepts of, choosing someone from a wound-based place versus choosing someone from a heart-based, true essence of who you are place, and the very different routes that takes. So that's like the biggest dream that's like alive in my heart right now, because I know a book like that can influence so many people's lives, and not everyone can, do a year-long program with me, and I get that, but everyone can generally buy a book.
Yeah.
And
good.
That's the thing.
I'm just into that. Like, get clear and ask. Like, I'm at a place I don't think I've ever asked you other than to come. You're coming to my retreat in October.
Yeah.
And it's the most, I'm so pumped about it, but I don't really ask. And it's something I'm trying to work on now.
I love it.
Because if you don't ask for what you really want, then you're just like, maybe it comes true. I guess you probably could, but I'm just saying there's something about initiating this, like, people want to help you. Mm-hmm. Like, I want to help you. Like, it's just, just ask. If I can help you, I will. Like, it's just, I think there's this beautiful community that I miss from not asking. So that's why I'm just
love
saying,
it.
ask, bring it out. So I'm going to start asking.
All the magic dust.
It's coming. It's coming. Well, Kelsey, it's been awesome. Like always, so we could go all day. I know. Super pumped you're coming to hang out and speak at my retreat in October. That's for that's for my Business from Within retreat. If anyone's interested, send me a message. It's 1-year program, mentoring and retreats. Anyways, cheers. Have an amazing day.
You too. And I'll talk to you very soon.
Very soon. Bye.